I'm back with our third and final review of how to write a daily learning target. We have looked so far at Levi's big goals, his roof and his foundation for what he wants to accomplish through his work. And we have talked about how Bloom's taxonomy gives us day-to-day actionable steps of what we can expect to see. These are the things that are going to allow Levi to achieve his goals, allow you guys to achieve your goals, because these are big picture, these are big, they're heavy, they require a lot of work. And so when we put them into the Bloom's map, when we use our fancy schmancy owl words to make sure that we are achieving those, we know that we are destined to achieve our goals. And so Levi, you'll see, has these very specific verbs for starting each of his Bloom's targets. Remember that Bloom's targets are the same thing as daily learning targets. They're going to become what you show us on a day-to-day basis. You're going to choose those targets each day. You're going to set a goal for those. You're going to copy and paste them. I'm going to show you in just a second how to do that. And that's what you're going to show us that you've done. So if you say you're going to write something, we can expect to see in the document for your evidence that you have written it. If you're going to draw, we can see a drawing. If you're going to define, we can see the definition of that and what it means to you. Same with describe and identify. Identify might be as simple as putting an image or an idea in there that shows us that you know what that means. So all of Levi's Bloom's taxonomy targets are going to become his daily learning targets. They're going to show us what he has done, and it's going to prove to us that you are progressing through your learning and progressing through the steps that you need to a higher level to achieve these sweet and epic goals. All right, so it's super okay that Levi is just working in the remembering and understanding stage right now, like most of you all are, because he is just trying to gather the information that he needs to do something cooler with it later on. We like to think that we're experts in everything, but until we really dig into it and dive deeper and ask all these really good research questions, we find that we don't know everything, and that's a really good, open-minded place that you want to be in. I want to point out now that your Bloom's map should not be stagnant. And what I mean by that is it shouldn't stay the same throughout your whole project. These should change as you are discovering new information and you realize that there are new things that you want to remember, new things that you understand, new things that you want to break apart and look at, or new things that you want to create. So as you are taking away new information, make sure that you are updating your Bloom's map, because that will keep your daily learning targets really updated and keep you moving forward. So this is something that should be changing and adapting each day as you are learning new information. So Levi continues to add new targets as he is, new Bloom's outcomes, new targets, however you want to call them, it's the same thing. He's adding them to the map to help him decide what he's going to do that day and what he's going to show us. So let's look at this one that he has here, right where earthquakes happen. If Levi says that he can write where earthquakes happen, that means that he's going to create a new document and he's going to show us that he has done that. He's going to write it in a document. The reason it's important that it's in a document for your facilitators is so that we can give you feedback and we can help you ask questions and push your thinking. And then you've got your research and your learning house there. So whether it's us or your peers, you're getting feedback on your learning, and we're pushing and asking questions so that you can truly become a master and an expert in the content area that you are excited about and that is meaningful to you. So once you've done this Bloom's work, writing a daily learning target is really simple. All you're going to do is copy and paste it and make sure that you are adding it to your daily learning targets down here. So each day in stage 2, evidence, targets right here, you're going to show us that you're doing those things. So Wednesday, Levi told us that he's going to write where earthquakes happen. And you'll see that on his evidence here, I know that he pulled his targets from a couple places. The first place he looked was at his Bloom's map. So right where earthquakes happen, that's a Bloom's target. I should expect to see that in his map, because that's something he's showing me to show us and himself that his learning is progressing and his learning is moving forward. So if you've got a target down here, you should have a target up here in Bloom's, okay? Doesn't have to be from remembering, but whatever stage you're working on, those things should be aligned and they should match. He's also got a couple targets here, or an outcome here from his seminar, so don't forget to add your outcomes from the seminars as well. And then he's added something from pillars, which is super awesome to see. And then he's added just kind of a target for himself to remind himself that he's finishing his applying stage of Bloom's taxonomy. Again, I want to note that there's really no such thing as finishing that section, because you're going to add to it and change it as you are moving through. But most importantly, because we are talking about writing daily learning targets, I want to point out that those are coming from his Bloom's map, his thinking that he's already done. So when we sit down and build in the mornings and I say, hey guys, build your day, build your schedule, set your targets, these are things that he is selecting from his Bloom's map that he has not done. So he knows that he's gathering information on where earthquakes happen. This connects back to his big goal of figuring out what is happening in these communities that are prone to earthquakes, and how can he do something that changes the sustainability of those? How can he make those people safer? And so that's one step, because if you think about our house and those targets being your bricks and building up to those bigger goals, this is just one step, one thing that he needs to do to make sure that he's achieving those big goals and getting to the point where he can evaluate and create. So again, if you have a target down here, it should match up here. So if you are thinking of new targets in your research, make sure that you are adding them to your Bloom's maps, okay? So he's got that target, he copied and pasted, he put it down there. So last Wednesday he said, hey, facilitators, hey Levi, I want to make sure that I understand where earthquakes happen, so I'm going to write those things down and I'm going to create a document that shows those locations, and he's linked it here as his evidence, as his proof that he has done that. So when I say write, that's a remembering stage. So at any point I should be able to say, hey Levi, can you tell me where earthquakes happen? And he can write those down, and he's going to show us that he can do that in his document. So we've got our Bloom's targets here. It's been copied and pasted from what we said we're going to do, and then we're going to show us how we did that. That evidence is here. Because if he said he's going to do it, if he said that that's the Bloom's goal, that is what we can expect that Levi did that day when he is not in a seminar. So remember, these are the things, your Bloom's targets are those goals that you are achieving by yourself as you are conferencing with, or as you are conferencing with teachers and you're not in a seminar. That's the research that we need to see, the learning that we need to see, and you need to prove it over here in the evidence column. So make sure you're keeping it organized, make sure you're dragging or copying and pasting your daily learning targets from the Bloom's map, and also allowing or adding your seminar targets, and we will slowly but surely see you guys working up towards these higher level goals. And once we've achieved those goals, we can say, all right, cool, what's next? But for now, be focusing on these Bloom's targets. Remember that they become your daily learning targets. They should be listed every day that we're building our schedule and build, and you should have evidence to support those. You guys are awesome and you're epic, and I love you.